सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So, what do we talk about? We'll make about this particular Turiya itself. Last time we were saying that there are 3 stages that we go through: wakeful state, sleep state, and deep dream state. These are the 3 different experiences that we have. These are the experiences of us. And though the states are different, one cannot be mixed up with the other thing. Then these 3 states are exclusive, separate. But I am experiencing, therefore I must be behind all these 3 states. Not only that, I do not belong to any one particular state. Then only I can have another state on me. Otherwise, if I belong to one state, then the other state I cannot reach. I cannot go to that state. Therefore, we are somebody who is behind all these 3. But then why all these 3 things are there? They have got their own importance, their experience, extraordinary. But we are so much wedded to the wakeful state, as if we belong to the wakeful state, is the first impression that we always have it. Everybody has it. Because that there is so much of transaction, there is so much of reality about that. And that reality is created not because of me, but because of the surroundings. That means to say that I can translate my experience into the others. Therefore, in wakeful state, all this transaction, all this translation will be there. So therefore, it becomes very, very prominent. Like today we are sitting and doing class. It is actually wakeful state that we can't do that. Rajesh. Oh. Bandera? Okay. Oh. Pushpa. Okay. So, and wakeful state in the sense that it's important because the wakeful state where we exist, then only the dream and deep sleep states exist for us.
In wakeful state, we get more
yes.
knowledge and everything.
In wakeful state, yes. That's why it is called as wakeful state is the karma bhumi. Yeah, this is where that I can improve, I can invest, I can do so many things in the wakeful state. That's why it is karma bhumi. Anybody is coming? Otherwise, you can close the door. Huh? Oh, okay. Gita will become. So wakeful state is something which is basically karma bhumi. That means here is the one where we can improve, we can educate, we can develop all those things. That means to say, that is the reason why he says the whole of wakeful state is for our to nourish. Nourishes that just develop, improve and all those things. So normally the idea that sthula bhuku and that nourishing, whatever that aspect by which that we are nourishing here, it all belongs to this gross world. Everything belongs to gross world, whether what I see, what I hear, or what I taste, what I take, what I touch, everything is a gross world, and everything has importance to build our personality or the groom our personality. So therefore, this is all supposed to be for nourishing for us. Sthula bhuku. And another thing is that whatever that you experience with the wakeful state or with these senses, however much that you are using the gadgets to deepen your perception, it's all about the gross world. Nothing about the subtle world. Like for example, if I say that I see with my eyes, the moment I say that with my eyes, I'm saying it's a gross world. I expand it, I multiply it by, magnify it by 1,000,000 times, and then I perceive it belongs to the gross world. Whatever that I see in microscope, microscopic, all that gems and whatever it all belongs to the gross world. Nothing belongs to the subtle, because that it can be caught by the implements or instruments that is there in the wakeful state. The same way, something that telescope that I use it, and it's something which can catch us a star which is millions of light years beyond that is there. But even that's also supposed to be a gross world. There is nothing which is subtle about it. Rishi is very clear about it. And the moment that there is a gross world, immediately one thing is that it can be transferable. That means to say, I can experience, you can also experience. If I see through the telescope to see that some star, you should be able to see the star. So it is interchangeable, because this is in the Vaishvanara. The experiencer is supposed to belong to the gross world outside. And it belongs to Vishwa. That if whatever that I have, and you also have the same thing. My eyes can see, your eyes cannot see, it can never happen. Then there must be something wrong. Therefore, you try to use some support from outside to see that you can also see. Like, for example, without glasses, I could not see what is written on the blackboard. And then slowly, I did not even realize, that was the first thing, that we don't even realize that we don't have that perception. But particularly when we were children, it was very simple. My friend next sitting, he was seeing the blackboard and then he was writing, seeing his book and writing. Everybody, teacher would come and shout at me saying that, why are you copying? I was getting irritated. I said, why do you complain about that? Your purpose is I should write. And I'm writing. How I'm writing, why are you bothered about it? I'm writing. But there's one intelligent teacher. He came and sat next to me and said, I have written something on the board. I said, yes. And then, how is he writing? He's seeing the board and he's writing. You are sitting next to him. How are you writing? I see his book and I'm writing. If he has written something wrong, not what I have written there, and you are copying that, no, I mean, something like that can happen. Then I said, why don't you see it on the board? I can't see that, therefore I'm not. See, look, next to sitting you, he can see on the board and you can't see on the board. So there must be something wrong with your eyes. Yeah, maybe. Then he said, see, your father is a doctor, and then he will fix everybody's eyes and this and that everywhere. And then he will fix your eyes also. You won't tell him the problem. Wow, that's a simple idea. See, when teacher shouted, I couldn't follow it. But somebody nicely convinced, I said, yeah, that's a very simple idea. So next day, that evening, I went to my dad. I said to my dad, okay, I don't see, I can't see. What's written on the board, I can see. My friend next to me is writing on the board, sitting on the board. Not only next to me, then later, really, last bench fellow also writes, seeing on the board. I can't see it. Then don't tell all those things. You have problem with your eyes to see. I said, yeah. Then he didn't have all that equipment. He sent to his friend, who was an ophthalmologist. He was also a doctor. There were only 2 doctors in this town in those days. So I went there, and then he said, my father, dad gave me a check. He said, okay, sit down. I need to sit on the chair, and then put a chart in front. He said, come on, read the chart. Close your right eye. I closed my right eye. Open the left eye and read. I read the whole chart from top to bottom. Then he said, close the left eye, open the right eye. Read the chart. I read the whole chart. Wow, so you can read till the last point, last letter? Yes. Then he was about to write a report. Then I told him, uncle, I can close both the eyes and read the chart. He said, show me both the eyes. I read the whole chart. How did you read the chart? I said, my father is a doctor. He has the same chart at home. Memorized. He cheated me. He said, no, I told you. Then he took out another chart which has the letter E, this side, this side, this side, and that side. I couldn't even read the first line, last line. So then, oh, so now let me fix your eyes. And you put the, this frame, and then put the lenses, and then put those two lenses this way, that and all that, and then first line, second line. The last line, I could read it clearly. Wow, that is beautiful. So what I could not see, it's some technology, I could see it. So everybody can see it, I can also see it. That day when I got the glasses, I was so happy, thrilled, because when I was walking on the street, the cinema posters, hero looks different from heroine. Huh? I could never. It's so beautiful. Otherwise, it was same everything. So essentially, what happens is that it is the gross world. Gross world is something which is gross. It is something which can be exchanged. There is nothing like in the gross world I can see and you cannot see it. And I'm very special. I can only see that you cannot see it. I cannot claim it. Like lot, and also this gross sensory organs perceive only the gross world. With these sensory organs, you cannot perceive anything other than the gross world. Whether it is smell, taste, or this or that, or any of these things, you cannot perceive that. It's amazing if such clarity when Upanishad gives us. I don't know why a lot of people say, oh, I see a golden aura around your head. I mean, there are 2 points that they would like to get. One is that you are very spiritual, therefore that you are golden aura. Second thing is, nobody else can see, I can only see that. And if you can see with your eyes, others also should see with their eyes. So that is the thing. Similarly, people feel prana. I feel the prana on my hand. If you can feel something on your hand that is being thrust, it must be something gross. And then gross, it can be measurable. You see, right away it can be measured. So these are all the claims which gross world that people experience. I'm not saying that it's something wrong. I'm saying only thing that is there is that only thing that I wanted to emphasize is that experience is not wrong, but it's a gross world experience. No, that is wrong. Like that is where the next level. That's what is the dream. Dream world is the world where my dream cannot be experienced by anybody else. This is what is the subtle world. Gross world experience is transferable. Subtle world experience is not transferable, but I'm experiencing it. So I don't want to deny that. So you say that you have seen the aura, whatever it is. I don't deny it from the point of view of being as a gross world. Your gross eyes do not see that. There is something, yes, many times that we see so many things that are there. We live only in that subtle world only most of the time. We are imagining something and then we are in that Shakespeare story, and that's what we are. Always in the imaginary world. We may be going on the road, but then suddenly mind goes somewhere else. The traffic and all that we don't see. All that we see is that somewhere I read, somewhere I went there and something happened. All those things were. It's like the dream. The dream is something which in the night when it happens, you see it. It's not that only in the night we have the dream. In the wakeful state also we have. And in fact, many times the wakeful state much more bigger dreams than the sleep state, than the daydreaming. So it constantly is happening in the background. In fact, it is like the way the stars that are there in the sky, you see during the daytime, you don't see that. Only in the night you see. Do you mean to say that day it has gone to rest? No, they're all there. Only thing is that you don't see, because the power of the daylight is so strong that it will cover the sky or the stars that are there in the sky. Therefore, you cannot see it. But then that's a very big world that is there. So much of a big world that is there. So many stars and all those things. In fact, in the wakeful state, when you compare that your sound reaches only this far, your picture reaches only this far. You have a very, very limited world to see. Whereas the dream world has something which is unlimited. It's so huge, so big, day in and day out that it works. And in fact, it is because of that dream world that we have, we were able to create so many things in the world today. All these things are because that we have an ability to create. So man has an ability to imagine himself to be flying, and that produced an aeroplane. Man had an ability to see that I can go into the water, I can swim, therefore he developed the swim. So he can become like a fish, he can become like a bird. That possibility is there because that he could dream about that. So therefore, basically, the dream state is something which is extraordinary. Not only these things, I have a fear, I can dream myself in such a way that I'm under protection so that I can come out of fear. That's what is this principle that we use. When the child says, it's dark, I can't cross there. He says, think of Hanuman Chalisa, Hanuman is there behind you, protecting you. You walk. And then people walk. So Hanuman is there behind it. It's all dream. There is nothing like there is a Hanuman sitting there waiting for you. Nothing like that. It's just on imagination. That's all the thing. Like that, we have all these imaginations. Like I'm afraid whether I pass the exam or not. But then we have a beautiful dream saying that there is one fellow sitting there. All the business that he has is to eat only. So therefore, at least you go to him and he will bless you that he will pass. Ganesha sitting there. If you don't give him that work also, he doesn't do that. So therefore, you go to Ganesha. You can see that big line during the exam time. The Ganesha temple, wow, they might not spend so much time in studying, but then they spend so much time in standing for it. And Ganesha will bless. And then even the priest also knows very well that Ganesha is the one who blesses you. Other gods, they are not capable. So, therefore, once it so happened, for anything, any starting of thing and blessing, we had a new car and then we went to Ganesha temple, just, driving there. Suddenly we realized that that day the new cars were released or something like that. There were so many cars standing for puja. Right, let's forget about it. Let's go to the Anjaneya temple. We went on the top of the hill. The Anjaneya temple, nobody was there. We were empty. So place was empty and our own car was there. We went inside, did the puja, elderly pujari, and then we called him out. He didn't know why we called him out. When he came out, we gave him the nimbu and then showed him the car. Do puja for this car. He had a hearty laugh. New car? Said, yeah. You should go to Ganesha. Hanuman can't do anything. He decides. So essentially, these are all the things where we have all those kind of imaginary world that we have created. And that world is very important for you so that you can unburden yourself when you go to Ganesha temple. Wow, now the journey will be all right. You can't miss that, particularly the ghat sections when the drivers drive. They have to stop at the temple there and then put all their burden onto them. Now I'm going to the ghat section, you take me carefully. And then they believe that the God takes them very carefully. On the other hand, actually, he drives very carefully. That's the thing. So, this way that we have all those things, not only the gods, look at our imagination. Like the way the dream has all kinds of imagination, this dream world, all the imagination, we created the whole story behind the gods. Ganesha has so many stories behind it, Shiva has so many stories behind it. Every god has innumerable number of stories behind it. Not only that, people create more and more stories. Original story somebody created and added to that. So many stories are created. And recently I read one story. It is something which, right or wrong is not the question. The question is fascinating. Yeah, because his dream is such a fascinating one. He said, why the name of this particular fruit is Sitapala? Have anybody knew about it?
Sitapala, Rampala, and
Lakshmanapala. Sitapala, Rampala,
Rampala and Lakshmana.
Lakshmanapala also. Oh, now that is it. Oh. What is the meaning behind the Sitapala? How is it? There's a beautiful story that is said. Actually, Sita means the plow. And then she was born to that plow. Actually, Janaka and the whole family, Sita, they're all supposed to be the landlords or the farmers. So she was an expert farmer. So therefore her name is Sita. And then when she came out from Ayodhya, she carried, because she was very fond of all those plants and seeds and all that, she carried a lot of seeds with her. And then at that time when Ravan came to take her away, at that time she was working as separating the seeds and all that. And then she made a bunch of all those seeds which are there of a great fruit. And then Ravan took her, and then she had immediately an idea of dropping the seeds all along the way.
Like Hansel and Gretel.
Right. And because Sita dropped those things, and those fruits are supposed to be Sitaphala. So that's how the name of Sitaphala came. And the interesting aspect is that Sitaphala seeds are something which is very powerful. That means you put it, it will grow. Not like many other seeds. Many other seeds you have to really take care of Sita. So she had an idea that this immediately monkeys follow and then read that. So something like that was there. Therefore, it is known as Sitaphala. See, right or wrong, let's leave the question aside. But the most important thing is, what a fertile imagination, what a beautiful word that we can create. How many stories we can create that way? Every time that you can create a new story, all the gods and goddesses, we have so many. And even without gods and goddesses also we create. So when one time, Amrit was very small. And then that time, I was at home and then Ratna has gone for a tour. And then I used to make him sleep every night and then tell a story. Telling a story for me is not a difficult thing. I can just easily do it. So he was sleeping. I tell the story, he was sleeping. Then one day, suddenly after about 1 or 2 days, I thought, let me do something. I tell a serial story. So that today I tell some story and then stop it, and then tomorrow I build up that story. I ask him the question, so where did we stop? He would diligently remember that. Then tell the next story, like that. After 3 or 4, 5 incidents, then suddenly the story went to climax, real climax. And then okay, now next story part is tomorrow, and then go to sleep. He go to bed, and then after about 10 minutes, he'll get up. Papa, what will happen to him tomorrow? Another half an hour later, no, I think she should not be that. So whole night he did not sleep. I said, tomorrow tell the story. But give me some little hint. Only tell me this one, that he will not kill him, no? That is what is the idea. Okay, he will not kill. Will not kill, then how can he come out of it? You see, now that is the other question. You went on like that. So you can create all these things. You can create a lot of creativity. You can involve in that. That's what is the idea of dream world. So dream is not just only the dream that we have in the night to see, but the dream has all these aspects of it. Your gods, your temples, your Puranas, all that what you create together with that, all the imaginations and all that which is responsible for the growth and development and all these things is supposed to be something which is belong to the dream world. When you look at it, you look at the depth of dream world compared to the wakeful state. And that's very important. Not only that, when people are ready about to, the last days, they find nothing is being in this world become painful for them. Immediately they go back into dementia, and that is when they go into the dream world. They remember their olden days and then what they were doing. In fact, there was one lady, we used to attend to her, last days dementia and all that. She was speaking in Telugu language, and nobody in the family knows about Telugu language, and she started speaking. And then, first of all, what is that she is talking? When I went there, I found out that she is talking Telugu. How did she know Telugu? Maybe it is coming from her childhood days when she was 4 or 5 year old. At that time, she was living among the Telugu families, and then she picked up Telugu. And that for last 50, 60 years, she never used it. Suddenly all that came up. That means to say, she went into that memory, which is at that time that was there. And then now the whole imagination that she could create and then develop that. All this is supposed to be the dream world. And then we have an experience of dream world. And this is totally different from the wakeful state. You can never connect them with the wakeful state. Ingredients may be taken from the wakeful state. Objects may be taken from the wakeful state. People may be taken from the wakeful state. But the dream world cannot be translated into wakeful state. And this is what the Mandukya Upanishad says. The dream state is also something for us to nourish. This nourishment is very important. That means to say, is the dream helping me to grow better? Or is it the dream disturbing me all the time? And because one advantage with the dream is that it does not have to follow the norms that are there in the wakeful state. That means to say, you are here in Bangalore, suddenly next moment you are in Calcutta, and then you don't have to take a flight and then go there, and then all that is there. Moment that you are there, you are already there. Why you are there, how you are there, don't worry about it. That's why it is supposed to be Taijasa. It is like the way that the Tejas, light will not take any assistance to travel. Light travels. So it is supposed to be like a light, Tejo Matra. Therefore, it does not have any density. It does not have any restrictions of anything, any wall or anything to stop. Your imagination can go anywhere. And then time also, there is no restriction that you can go back to a time behind and the time forward. These are the advantages that are there with the help of dream world. And then I can use all these advantages to see that whatever my dream is supposed to be for nourishing. Not nourishing, I just leave it behind. Sometimes, yes, bad dreams are there. I just get up and have some water, a cup of coffee, and then go back to sleep. I said, that's a bad dream, leave it. Unfortunately, what happened, a lot of people attach so many things to those bad dreams. I had a bad dream, that means something definitely is going to happen. A lot of contribution is from the cinema world, from the serial, TV serials. Oh, something happened. Definitely there's going to be action, there's going to be this and that, and a dream like that. So don't take up that kind of thing so seriously, where you won't be nourishing. But what makes you to nourish, you take it. But then sometimes it happens that we are in the dream, but then things happen, what you say in the dream. Yes, this is what is deja vu experience. And what happens is that a person, when he goes between wakeful state to dream state or deep sleep state, rather than going to those states, suddenly he slips into in between this turiya. And he goes to a level of turiya where the time is not constrained for him. That means he is not bound by time here and now. So it's a very fraction of a moment in experience of going to turiya, and then suddenly he gets up into a time which is supposed to be future, sometime later, maybe about a month later, 2 months later, and all that. Suddenly, when he comes to that state, then he has some experience of seeing something that does not belong to now. So it is something which is extended, maybe about 15 days later, 1 month later. So once you have that experience, but then immediately after that experience, when you come to the wakeful state, from there you jump into now. But then that is there in the background. Now you connect with whatever that is there around you, and then you interact with the world normally. Everything is looking to be normal. In fact, many times you don't even remember that you had some vision, something like that. But some people remember that something like that I said. But after that, when the time is now inching towards that experience, whatever that happened, maybe after about several years later, a month later, or whatever it is. And then when you are inching towards that, then suddenly you start realizing, oh, I have seen this whole thing. There's places like that, and now these are the people who are going to be there. And this is what the conversation will go on. And this is what is going to be the result that will be there. So it looks like that whatever that happens, you have already registered. You knew it. But the interesting thing is that you might have known by going there, but at the same time, that does not, you cannot have a capacity to alter it. You don't have a capacity to alter it, you do not interfere with it, it's just there in front of you. That is why basically I knew it, but I can't change it. Helplessly I go towards that. And that gives us a dreaded experience saying that, wow, everything is already written. We think that we are doing something, but that's a big relief also. Whatever you do, whatever you would like to do, but everything is written. So you don't, your anxiety portion is not there. That's the way it is supposed to happen. I might have thought of so many things that are there, but ultimately, what is written, that's what happens. That's why we say, whatever that is written here, it will happen. However much that you plan, scheme, and but then you don't have any control. No, you don't have any control, but you have control on one thing, and that is basically whatever that happens to disturb, to get disturbed, and not to get disturbed is the freedom that you have. Like tomorrow, you are going to be coronated, but then the next information comes that no, you have to go to the forest for 40 years. Fine, it's okay. One way or the other, that you do not get disturbed. This freedom that we have got, and that's what is the spirituality. That's why the other day last time I was saying that Adibhuta Adidaiva Adhyatma. This is what is the Adhyatma Shakti that we have, that whatever that happens, I can take it peacefully. Sukha Dukkhe Samay Krutva Labha Labho Jaya Jaya, all that. In fact, for a person like Krishna, he is supposed to be all knowing everything and he calculates very clearly. Such a person also gets into that problem in one situation. That is, they will be planning the war. Next day, what to be done. Then everybody is sitting there, and then they were talking, saying that, tomorrow, the Jayadratha is creating so much a problem and this and that. So, Arjuna should go behind Jayadratha, finish him once for all. So, this was decided. Then Krishna is just sitting quiet. Then everybody said, yes, we should do it, and the other things, we will take care of the war here. Bhishma and all those things, will take care of it. Like that they said. Krishna was keeping quiet. He said, Krishna, why are you keeping quiet? You tell something. At that point of time, Krishna was not very comfortable Arjuna going away. But then he didn't have any other idea. In fact, even the question comes up by somebody says that it's not that Jayadratha is giving problem, but it is a planned strategy to divert Arjuna's attention because that they want to do something else here. It is very clear. That he is being trapped. But he is being trapped for what? See, that they did not know. They could not even imagine the trap is against Abhimanyu. That was the kind of thing. And so Krishna along with Arjuna go to that side. And when they came back in the evening, the whole camp was dark, the whole camp was dull, no light. Greatest of the tragedies that you could think of in Mahabharata was Abhimanyu got killed. And it is so many people, Adhirathas, Marathas, and then all those people, together they killed him. It's against the war rules. And then they killed him. Single fellow that they isolated him, they did not allow even Bhima to enter into, because Padmavyuha is like that. You can trap. And then he didn't have chariot, he didn't have weapons in his hand, and then he was killed. That shocked Krishna more than Arjuna, actually. It was such a horrible thing. But then Krishna immediately recollected himself and said, yes, whatever the God's plan has to happen. Now let us change the plan, strategy. See, that is where the greatness of Krishna. Everybody is blaming, everybody is angry, Kauravas, this and that. By anger, you only spoil yourself. And in fact, that's what later on says. Out of anger that you take all these vows, and then that works against you. See, that's what happened. In 24 hours, before sunset, I'm going to kill that fellow. Arey, how could you kill this fellow? Because that if you kill him, that head, if it falls down, there is a curse on him that whoever has killed him dropped his head down, and his head will be broken 1,000 times or something like that. Yeah. And then now you kill him, that head will. So Krishna says, Arey, you are a fool. You've not taken that role. But anyway, if you have taken that role, now the remedy is that don't allow that to fall on the ground. Let it go and fall in the lap of his father. And he's sitting and meditating, it falls in his lap. And then suddenly he sees that blood filled head, throws it down. When he throws it down, his head breaks. All that strategy Krishna has to do it. All the mistake these fellows, they do it. The cleaning work, Krishna does it. Then onwards, the war strategy is Krishna changes. Because he's a balanced mind. That's what is the way he says that what happens is not important. But whatever happens, if you are able to maintain your peace of mind, you have a lot of opportunities to bring a change in that. So that's what is the idea. We have got Adhyatma, freedom. And then this is what is Sthula, is the gross world, and Sukshma is the subtle world. But please understand that Sthula is the gross world, Sukshma is the subtle world. But connection in the sense that it's like the way that I have imagination of a plane, and then I create a plane. I have an imagination of a kite, and then I make a kite. So that means to say gross world and subtle world, they are not different. In fact, there is one philosopher, one great thinker, he has written a book saying that thought is nothing but thing. Thought is also a thing. Thought is not different. It's a very amazing statement it was said. Every thought has an influence as much as the thing has an influence. You cannot separate that. And therefore, all these things that are there, gross and subtle world, they all belong to the material world. Very clearly, that's all material. Now what happens is, that's why Sthula and Sukshma. The whole world stopped at the level of there is a gross world, there is a subtle world. Gross world is the world outside, subtle world is belong to the mind. Gross world is soma, and then subtle world is psyche. So psychosomatic, this is what is the way that they thought. Everything stopped at that level. Then behind the gross world and subtle world, when both these things are the same, there must be something which is responsible for this creation. That responsible for creation is what is called as Karana. Therefore, we have these three worlds, what is called as Sukshma world, Sthula world, Sukshma world, and then Karana. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Jagat. Yes, cause. From where everything has evolved. In fact, I was getting my ideas and I was writing that. It was the gross world. As I said, it is for nourishment. If you look at the nourishment, okay, I'll come to that later. But in any case, that there is a Karana, Prapancha is also there. Now, the Karana is responsible for this world that is there outside. Karana is responsible. Karana is the cause. Therefore, we have the causal world. Now, this causal world is something we create because that we have some idea about the Karana. So, we carry the impressions into the Karana world, that means this is gross and subtle, and then causal world, and that causal world ideas will come back into the subtle world to the gross world. And all our vasana samskaras, they are there in that causal world. We carry that. Therefore, what happens is that our creation is based on what all that impression that we have already wanted to do something, and that's what is created. That is the reason why I need to correct it at that level. Now, when you see it, it's like a deep inside memory that you have. And from that memory, all these things come up. And then that makes you to do it. And like, for example, a child prodigy musician, he has in the Karana world music within him or within her. So when the person grows, immediately all that music comes up. You provide the necessary assistance for that, and then such a person becomes a great musician, though he was small. So that's what we have seen this, what is that, Surya Gayatri and people like that. For all the people who have music in such a way that somebody would have practiced some 60, 70 years of is expert in music can only have that kind of music, and this girl is 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and that kind of thing. Such a wonderful. In fact, these days I've been watching another thing called as Maithili. Uh, what's that? She's another girl from North India. She's from Bihar side. My God, the kind of music that she sings. Maithili Yadav or something like that. So Thakur, Maithili Thakur. It's extraordinary, extraordinary. What such an extraordinary, wonderful music is there. She's hardly 12-year-old. And then now she's already a big star. Just Google Maithili and then Thakur, and then you can find all those things. Not only she's so dynamic, she's so these things, and somebody who is so expert in 30, 40, 50 years of experience, and then what can do, and that Maithili is doing when she is hardly 12-year-old. And in fact, the last time that she has, she's such a great artist that she bought one of those very expensive cars. She presented it to her mother for the birthday. So most sought after in North India because she has got that kind of an ability. So all these things are supposed to be from the Karana. So therefore we say that the Karana that we create. See, what I want to do, I create a Karana and then put it in myself, and then that's what is way decides my next life. Therefore, we say that in the Karana world, in that world, have something which is positive, have something which is nice. Don't unnecessarily keep in your memory something which is negative. All that you just finished off here itself. Don't take it all the way. Just leave it. Every day before going to bed, see that you are absolutely free from all that negativity. You go to bed with nice, wonderful, positive memory with it. That's the most important. There's another added advantage with that. All the anxiety is nothing but mind become negative. And you are free from anxiety once you don't have become negative. And whatever, now you know that whatever that happens, happens. Then why are anxiety? What is the role of anxiety? It's nothing. So therefore, you can come out of it. So therefore, this is the third world that we have. And that is where manifestation has not taken place. So that's what is the silence. Silence. That's what is the deep sleep. But as I said, as deep sleep is a state which is neither wakeful state nor the dream state, but it's separate. And there we have all these impressions are there in a dormant way. They have no whatsoever manifestation. And it is not the subtle world, but it is deeper than the subtle world. That's why it is called a causal world. And these are the three experiences that we have.
Deep sleep is a causal world.
Yes, deep sleep is a causal world. So therefore, gross world, subtle world, and causal world, these three things. And we hover between all these three things. These are only experiences. That means you go and come out of it. You go there and come out. You are not that. Therefore, these three are supposed to be the three states. You are not a part of the state. You are behind the states. So therefore, it is, last time that was a question that you call it as, what is that? Three? This Traya. Yeah, I said what? Avasthatraya. Yeah, Avasthatraya. Yes. These are Avasthatraya. So we are not part of Avasthatraya. Avasthatraya is on top of us. So now we'll go to that aspect of it. This Avasthatraya and then the part behind it is what Mandukya Upanishad calls it as Om. Because Om has symbolically these three aspects of it. Aum. And then the fourth is that silence. And that silence is a state, it's supposed to be Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, and then Turiya. Turiya is what you are, basically. Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, Aum, or the modifications on you or the experience that you have. Therefore, Ahum belongs to the world outside, manifested world, Sthula Sukshma Karana. But then that silence that follows is what you are. There is not even the impression that are there. So you need to go to that silence, not in a simple way, but to go to the deeper and deeper level of silence to see that you remove all the impressions that are there. That's what is behind. Because Karana has all those impressions, but you don't have any impressions. Karana has a purpose. See, Karana experience. Causal experience has all those purposes. In causal experience, yes, you want to become Prime Minister, Chief Minister, whatever it is there. All that is there. You want to make a millionaire, all those things that are there. It has not yet manifested. Suksh might manifest. Stula, it becomes a reality. But Suksh might manifest. I'm impressed. In fact, that's one of the reasons why even, symbolically that they say that when the child is born at the time of Namakarna or something like that, they keep a sword, they keep a book, Bhagavad Gita, they book, something like that.
Child chooses.
Whichever chooses, the child has that karana. That's right. Invariably, every child chooses sweets that are there. But some crazy child takes up, puts on the hand on the sword or something like that on the knife. Oh, then he has a Kshatriya tendency. That's what they create all those. So therefore, all these 3-4 states are on top of us, and all these 3 states are connected with the impression that are there from the previous life, and there's an intention behind it. Even though that you are in deep sleep state, you still have an intention behind it. Therefore, it is not totally complete. That's the reason why they say that you go to deep sleep, a fool goes to deep sleep, wakes up as a fool. But a fool goes to Turiya, he wakes up wise. Because Turiya is one state where none of these impressions are there. And that's what in Mandukya, in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, we have seen at different levels of samadhi, all those things are nothing but in the gross world outside, or this subtle world, or including causal world. But it is not you. You are beyond all these 3 things. That's why samadhi, when we go to the deep later, all the levels of 7 levels of samadhi, then you go. That is a state where you are pure from yourself. That is why he says that until when you reach that, he says that Dagdha Bijavatu. That means to say the seed is already burnt. It's like a burnt seed. See, the importance of burnt seed is shape, size, this, that, contours on top of it. Everything looks like normal seed. But the only thing is it's burnt. That means it Dagdha Bijavatu. Bijavat. Bijavat means like a seed. Bijavat. Dagdha Bijavat. It is like a burnt seed. So you are in this world having the same impressions and everything that is there. We know that these are all the things that we need to. People are there. It's like a bija having all those qualities that are there. You are also like that, interacting with everybody and all that. But then you are burnt seed. That means you don't have any more ability to reproduce that kind of thing, recreate that kind of thing. Until you reach that level, the seed can again sprout and the new journey starts. For us, that's what is the new journey every time that you come here, new journey starts. And then we keep going and get here and there some brickbats and hits and all those things. But then at the same time, there are some attractions also come. Again, there's a possibility that you might drift from this thing, or new vasanas, new this thing, new realization, then you come back. So this journey, you can come out of it only when you touch the Turiya. Turiya is a state where there is no more impression that are there. That's why when Patanjali gives that state of samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, no more vikalpas, that there is no more a chance of becoming something different. You are that. That's what is the idea. So that the 4th state is that. So Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti on top of you. Now this nourishment and the wakeful state, the food, the physical body is made out of food. And then this food is something which makes us what we are. In fact, food is the one which makes this body. What you are is what you eat. And look at, imagine that whatever that your physical body is there, it's actually coming from your own dad, your own mom. And then from there it goes to next generation, it just goes like that. Imagine what you are today, the physical body. It's not yours. It's something which has come from several generations, right from the birth of the creation itself. Several generations is coming back. So it has come. It's not in your hands. Whatever that has come, that's what you are. You are only custodian for that. You wanted to use it. Therefore, you have that. That's why whatever the parents give you, that's what you are. You can't decide what should be my height, what should be my weight, what should be this, what should be that. It's all pre-decided, basically. But genetically decided. What should be the features? You see that the features are great-grandfather. Features are there in the child. So, essentially, that means to say, this is not you, is what coming from it. And now, you have responsibility to maintain it. You give it something so that here in this, it's an instrument that you can use it. You are in a rented house. And this rent house, you take care of it. That's what you do it. So it's purely here to take care of it. But then here also, that this is not just only it's the food that we take is the one which makes this body. So whatever the food that we take, that's what happens with us. In fact, that's one of the very important reasons why that the ingredient that I put for this body is the one that makes this body. That's why if you put the ingredients of vegetarian items to this body, vegetarian items do not react. So therefore, you have developed a tendency not to react. It's not one day or 2 days. For generations, we have done this experiment. Therefore, basically what happens is, we are very peaceful race because that we are given that. The same thing if I am giving animal food in that, difference between the vegetables and the animal is animal fights. When the animal is trying to, it has a tendency to, when death comes, plant will not resist the death. There is no mechanism in the plant to resist the death. But an animal, it is not like that. They resist. The simple thing is that, how is the resistance? It is, I can run away from here or I can fight. Plant does not have a locomotion. So therefore, plants do not have a tendency to fight. They don't develop that. But any animal, any instinct, any small it is, it has a tendency to run away. Or it has to protect itself or shout at you, reacts. It's all created by the chemical changes that happen. A small little chemical change can happen this. So imagine that in your food that you put the chemicals, then is it not going to make the same changes within you? Your body produces the same chemicals in such small little quantity, and then it can bring about such change. Does it not happen when you put some garbage into the stomach? Definitely it's going to happen. But then now the question is, why the animals have that particular thing? Even a sattvic animal like a cow, people say that, somewhere I said, I'm vegetarian. Then somebody said, I only eat vegetarian animals. Didn't, you mean to say that somebody eats a tiger or a lion? No, rat and all that I don't eat because that they are some. Even if you take a vegetarian animal, that means to say a cow or something like that, when there is when they are approaching the death, they can sense it and they try to struggle against the death. Jiveshna is so strong, they struggle. In the process that they develop the whole system which has a struggling aspect, that is the violence aspect is there within them. That's the reason why there is a tendency to develop that violence when you become non-vegetarian. That's a simple idea, so that you become. There's somebody who has a face like a cow, but then they're behind that they are violent. And the beautiful Tipu Sultan is a wonderful example for that. Outside he is helping somebody, he is doing this, he is doing work, but then behind that he is a tiger hidden behind. Tiger hidden behind the cow's attire. That's it. So somebody is appointed as a daily wager in the Bangalore Zoo, and then he thought daily wager means some work that they give, work of cleaning, work of this, work of that. So he was going for doing that daily wage work. One day he came to the work, he said, "No, today you don't have to go to this work, we have a different work. And then go to this big boss there." So he went to big boss. Big boss said, "Today's your work is 8 hours duty. You have to put on yourself a tiger skin and then sit inside the cage.
Yeah.
Because the guests come and the tiger is not that sick, therefore you have to be tiger." He never thought about that. So he completely covered himself with the tiger skin and all that, and then somebody with all that, just to show, and then sent him inside the cage. And then, all right, I have to sit in the cage for 5, 6, 7 hours like that. It's okay, accepted, and then went inside the cage. Then he found a lion sitting there. I thought I'll be alone in the cage, but then now lion is there. He started shivering. Lion said, "I'm also like you. Don't worry." That's in it. Don't worry. So all these things are the things that are there to see that how manage the world outside. So therefore, all the food that you eat will make what you are. So there, not only that, why does the food bring about change within us? The food that we take, you look at it, the food constantly is building the cells and this and that and all that, and then their cells dying and the new cells are born. That means to say the food is being cycled there. So 1 day, 2 days if you eat, it may not bring about a change in you, but then constantly if you're eating for 10 years, see what happens is every 7 years, all the cells in the body, they are replaced. You are a totally new person. So if you have 7 years that you are eating something like that, then the system is getting used to that kind of a thing, so that it acquires all that qualities of the food that you take. And if you have been eating for generations this vegetarian food, what must be the situation that we have? So it is a great advantage. Not only that, we have done so many experiments on the food, unlike the other places in the world, that we have refined the food into such level where we can go to what particular grain will give what kind of a thing, or what kind of spices, this and that, what kind of things that you give. Such a big combination that we have developed, such an extraordinary, wonderful combination that we develop. So we lose all that ability if we don't take care of this food. And the food we take, if the food has an ability, if food is something which can catch you, which will not give you the freedom, then you get caught up with that food. So that's why there are certain foods which will make you aggressive. There are certain foods which will make you docile. You should be active but not aggressive. You should be calm but not docile. There are certain foods which make you calm. There are certain foods which take you away from that calmness. These are all important. Not only that, there are certain foods which create an irritation within you. There is a fight that's going on. There are foods that are there smooth. There are foods which make you a challenge, not irritation, but then builds you up. There are certain foods which do not build you up, however much you take it. So therefore, basically, all these concentrations are there in the food. Ultimately, what happens is that if you take all this food and the body is created, body is changing and all that, changing against what? Against you. You are there behind it. So therefore, what is the right kind of food that you take is that the gross body is there, but at the same time, it should be sufficiently transparent that you can penetrate through the body to go inside. It's like the way that a glass that you clean it so very well, You don't see that there is glass existing. Your sight, your everything goes deep inside. You can see what's happening other side. Only when you try to go near, then you see that there is a glass that is standing there. Yogis are the people who make this body in such a way that this body, they make it transparent to see that what is behind the body. And then they see that body does not exist by itself, it exists because of prana. Then they see the pranamaya kosha. When they say annamaya kosha, behind that is pranamaya kosha. It's not intellectual, it's experiential. If you want to go through that experience, you have to make this body such a way that it becomes transparent. And this body requires three things. One is the food that we take, which just makes this body. Second is the exercise that we do it. Body is made to do certain exercise. When you do that exercise, body does not become rigid. This is another thing. A body becoming rigid is the way that body becomes opaque. The transparent quality is gone. It does not become. So therefore, we should not only focus on the food, but to see that exercise that we do so that the body will not become rigid. It should have that freedom. In fact, the way that they say is that it should become light. The body should become light. It should not become heavy. In fact, many times you can see that the food that you take, you feel heavy. I mean, you want to say that heavy in what condition? It's not the size that it is heavy, but the type of food makes you feel heavy. Whereas certain types of food makes you feel light. So these are all the things that are there. Most of the time in our ceremonies and first in our vratas, that means to say the disciplines, always suggested the light kind of food. Light kind of food which makes you feel light. That's important. So somebody said, I take only light food because she was a heart patient, therefore you should not take any food which is heavy. You only take light food. Yeah, I take only light food because oil floats on the water. It is light. And vada floats on the oil. I take only that. Oh, please. That light is different from this light. That heavy is different from this heavy. So therefore, basically, these are the things which are necessary to see that we are able to go deep inside. This is what is real nourishment. Nourishment is that which makes your body in the way that it is transparent so that you can go deep. So there are various ways that the body holds on you, not becoming transparent, because one is heaviness and the other is agitation that is there in the body, and third is the body becomes like goes into stupor. That means it takes away your awareness. Liquor and other things which are supposed to be ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಗಸಗಸ ಪಾಯಸ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ. In North India they drink bhang. Just takes away your awareness. You are not aware of it. Yes, I don't want to be connected with the body. I want to come out of body awareness, but I should not lose my awareness. I should not lose my awareness. So that awareness has to be there and I should transcend the body. Whereas all the liquor, all those kind of things, these are the things which will make you feel that you are not aware of anything. Body attachment is not there, but then awareness itself is not there. So it's not the question of not having only attachment, but having an awareness to go further deep into that journey has to continue. So that's why all these things which are supposed to be, whether it is drugs or all these things are making. And there's another very important aspect of it. I said that this body, every cell is a living being there. In fact, every cell has its own life, has its own cycle. It's not even bothered about you. It just goes on its work. Like then some muscle cells are to be created, muscle cells are going on. You don't even know that. So all those things are going on. That is the reason why somebody dies. Even after the death, the beard continues to grow and the nails continues to grow. That means they are doing their work. Even though government fell down, but they're just going on continuing for some time. So basically the cells are continuously doing their work, and then cells have got their own intelligence. their own perception, observation, intelligence, identity, and all that. Therefore, that a particular cell belonging to a particular organ will develop only that organ. They do not work anything. Like, for example, blood cells will only create blood cells. Bone cells will only create bone. And skin cells only can create skin. That's the reason why they can create the skin, and where to stop, they stop. They have their intelligence. That's why, in fact, that's the best important aspect is that the skin grows by itself, but the most important aspect is skin knows where to stop growing. If they do not know that, a cell which does not know where to stop, that is a cancer cell. Cancer cell. So therefore, all this intelligence is there in the cell. So therefore, the cells also can create intelligence of their own. We need to see that what kind of intelligence we give to the cell. It's like a city maintenance, and what are this that you are trying to do it. So what happens in the cells? That is, many times I gave that example of African place. Countries like Ethiopia, some places in Africa, that aeroplane comes and food supplies are given once a week, and then they throw the packets, and then strong people hold it, and then some more, they hold it, they keep it till the next flight comes, and they keep using that. A lot of things that go on in that sense. So, but then now the person who gets the food, then he is not very sure that till next week what he will do. So therefore, he tries to hold his food and then does not want to give. So this hoarding becomes like a part of their own culture. The psychology is cultured in the form of hoarding. They keep it. But because that psychology is transferred into cells also, because cells have intelligence. So the cells also think that they should not distribute to the others. So that's why African children, that you can see that lanky legs and hand, they are very thin, but then pot belly. Because you give the food to the belly cells, they become hoarding, they become what is called as miserly. They don't give it to the body, rest of the body. That's a very interesting phenomenon. And so this hoarding psychology becomes so much important. Wherever scarcity is there, at the scarcity, this hoarding psychology develops, even in the cells. And that, in fact, those who are miserly, they are generally constipated because they don't want to give it away. So they hold it at the stomach. Yeah, they don't want to partake anything. So that, or when you become very sensitive for various, there also the people suffer from urination, defecation deficiency because they don't. This country suffered like that. That's what the survey said, that because we didn't have toilets. Lot of village people suffered from this because that we didn't have toilets. That's the reason it was an urgency that we had to have toilets everywhere, so that people become healthy. Similarly, we passed through almost 70 years of scarcity. That's why even our psychology is geared into that scarcity. That's why I see the people who are 70, 60 years, they still have that scarce psychology in them. They go to the buffet, they fill the plate. Whereas youngsters will look at them and say, wonder, what is there? You can come 10 times. And each time you can get a new plate and then fill it up. Why don't you have it? I was observing that. It's very interesting to see that. Whereas today, if you see 20-year-old, 18, 17, those children do not do that. They just pick up what they require and then go. It's a wonderful practice. So it takes a generation to see that this particular psychology changes. Generation or two generation. If that way a generation or two generation changes takes place, in such small little change, the body has to become transparent. How much we need to focus on that. It's an extraordinary, wonderful thing. And that's why that is the kind of thing that we need to get. And because that we hold on to the body, we will not go deep into it. That's another possibility, is that we hold on to the body. Body becomes very important. It should be beautiful, it should be this thing, it should be that, and it should, I remember, people, how much that they, not just body, but on the cover of the body. 5 years ago in the marriage, the same sari that you are wearing, and today also you are wearing the same sari. I mean, 5 years sari that you are wearing today also the same. Do you remember all those things? And that means how much at the body level that you are holding on to. If you are holding on to the body level so much, then at the time of death, you are difficult to get rid of this body. You do not become transparent. At least in this world, while we are here, first thing that we can do is to see that let me become transparent in this body level so that I can easily detach myself from the body. Even now also I am not attached with this body. That's the feeling that I should have it. So I'm not running behind the body, but I provide whatever that is necessary for this body to see that I can become transparent. I can go deep inside and see the prana. So that's why Pranamaya Kosha is my experience. Like that, at various levels, when we go, making transparent, and finally, what deep inside what we are is this self. That's what is the Turiya. So then Turiya becomes not just only a passing thing or an imagination, but it's a true experience. So this way, when we go, that's what is real nourishing. Nourishment has that kind of a thing. Once you do those things, these three things, that is Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, all these things that you can set aside, and then you become one with the Turiya. So the difference between the Sushupti and Turiya is, Sushupti there is no awareness. You are pushed into Sushupti, helplessly pushed into Sushupti. But Turiya is something. Yes, with the you are awarenessly entering into it. Yeah, circumstances will almost like cripple you into Sushupti, deep sleep state. Very simple thing. Wherever you are getting bored, you feel like sleeping. That means the outside circumstances do not encourage you to be wakeful or dream. Therefore, you go to deep sleep state. So, morning experience of Maitri Milan when people are sitting there and some lecture is going on. And they also ask, then some people, they close their eyes. What happens at that time? It just takes you to Turiya. Sushupti, not Turiya. So this is what basically the way that we need to look at it. Then, and where else can you reach Turiya other than from the Jagrata Sapna Sushupti? Therefore, this body is a wonderful incident, this whole body, mind, consciousness complex is a wonderful instrument so that I can transcend it. That's what Patanjali's idea of meditation is also, to see that stages of meditation. We are going gross thought, from then we go to the intellect, and then we go beyond that. Then we go back. And this particular practice of going back to the self is like the way that during the Independence Day, the Republic Day, that you see all that military parade and all that. Meeting a retreat, they say. This retreat is something which is going back to the self. And that's what is called as, in Sanskrit, what we call it as prasthana. So now prasthana traya are those three kind of knowledge which will help you to go to prasthana.
Means this Veda, they are the Prasthana.
Right. And now I'll come to prasthana. Next week we can discuss about that, prasthana traya. So there are three different supports that we require to make this prasthana going back to ourselves as possible. Three supports that we have. So there are three different supports. One is called as Shruti Prasthana, Smriti Prasthana, and then Nyaya Prasthana. These are the three things. So what is that? What is the importance of this? Why we have only three? Why not any other thing? Because this question of three comes all the time. Yes. Prasthana Traya. Shruti Prasthara.
So what is the significance of the three over there?
Because that is what. Now, like this, all the experience of our states can be divided into only three parts. So, therefore, that is three avastha. Same way, prasthana supports, you can only divide it into three. You cannot have four. That's why it is called as prasthanatraya. So everything comes down to that, where it results into only three. Yes. So that's what it is. Stop it here. That's it. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.